the real stories of the real buyers and sellers, families, humans, couples, single moms, single dads, widows, widowers, families in crisis, somebody dealing with cancer, folks downsizing to assisted living, senior living, the adult children of mom and dad who are having awkward conversations about what do we do with mom? What do we do with dad? How do we bring in how do we get them to assisted care? Do they need home health?
Yeah.
The divorce, the divorce, the marriage, the babies, the move back to Idaho 10 months after the employer told them, you can live anywhere in North America and work for us. Just kidding. I need you back.
Oh, that one hurts.
Guys, this is the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive.
Yeah. And I mean, like,
That might have been my favorite intro of all time.
yeah, that was good. So many moving parts.
It's a good thing I showed up 45 minutes early and rehearsed it. Guys, here's the deal.
Right.
That was a joke for our listeners. I didn't show up 45 minutes early.
Jeremy's the only guy I've ever met that can show up within 30 seconds and be live.
That's not fair. It was 50 seconds. Now listen.
But you could do it in 30.
Listen. Jesse, is anything that came out of my mouth, we're going to talk about like real people today. Did I say anything that was an exaggeration?
No.
No.
And you probably missed a few. I've got one right now that
Yeah, go. I want to hear.
Mom and dad passed away. Brother's been living in the house, trying to get him out, and then he fell and broke his foot. So
then I had a great excuse to say, oh, well, I've got to stay in the house for free.
Had to go into surgery. So that it's just a mess.
Jesse, how many times in the last, I've been at this 20 years. You've been at it, 13?
Yep. About.
In our combined, 33 years in real estate. How many times have we heard about, I'm going to say it, the dirtbag brother who's still living in the family house that they can't get out?
Gosh. 50? I've probably heard it 50.
Sorry to make an assault on men, but we rarely hear about the dirtbag sister.
Or somebody or somebody in the family. It just gets weird. Mm-hmm. When you start dealing with, especially kids dealing with mom and dad's houses, and it adds a little layer to it if they grew up there.
Yeah. So this last week, by the way, I'm Jeremy Larkin. Jesse Paul's with me. Larkin Group, Keller Williams Realty. And so what we do is, our title is real estate agent or realtor, but we help people, humans, manage their wealth in real estate. We help them manage their real estate moves. So kind of fun story. So yesterday, 5:00, I was at Domino's Pizza on Telegraph in Washington City. Random place to be at 5:00. I've never been in that Domino's, but I was there because my great clients, Marcus and Jessica, they moved here from Idaho a year ago. I want you to think about this turn of events. He works for a company. I can't even remember what the company's called because, there are like 400 million corporations that you never heard of.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you do for a living? And I didn't understand the answer, but, he's a cool dude. 4 kids, 2 to 14. And about a year ago, they live in Idaho Falls, and their employer says, hey, you can work anywhere in the country. Idaho Falls, guys. Like, no offense to Idaho Falls, but it's like, it ain't St. George. Yeah. The whole world wants to. I don't think the PGA Tour is considering Idaho Falls, right? Like they did here. Okay. So they sell their home with my good friend, dear friend, Jared Horsley in Idaho Falls. Jared, they come to St. George. They buy a new home, brand new, D.R. Horton at Long Valley. Oh, yeah. I took Jen through yesterday because we're going to talk about a pizza visit. And this Long Valley is this brand new community off of the Southern Parkway, splash pads and multiple pools and pickleball and a gorgeous community center. And when I took her through, this is my fiance, she'd never been there. She said, this is a resort.
Yeah, it is.
So they moved from Idaho Falls. They buy this brand new home. It's 2,400 feet on a Ripple Rock Drive. They move in. They're there about 9 months. And the employer says, just kidding. You have to move back. So they did a town hall. And this, like as corporations do, and what else are you going to do? They do this town hall meeting on Zoom. They tell all their people across the United States, you have 11 months to come back. And the day I went to see them, so Jared calls me, my good clients and friends need your help. I need you to help them sell their home in St. George. And I was so honored that they called us, right? So I go out and I meet them, and they are adorable. 4 kids, again, 2 to 14. I go out, they're in the backyard. all 4 of them playing together. And I teased them yesterday, 3 months later. I said, were you guys posing? Was this fake? But they were getting along. And they go to their kids and they're like, hey, kids, you know how we made this really awesome move to this place that's like better than you could have ever imagined? We have to move. And we went through the process, and these guys were heroic. They took my staging advice. They took my home prep advice. They buttoned up some things that can kind of get left loose-ended with a national big builder. They managed showings with 4 kids, right? And here's the best part. 10 days into this thing, we had a full asking price offer generated. And what was fun is we negotiated that they could stay in the house after the closing for another week with rent-free until school ended. So I went out with Jen yesterday. We took Domino's Pizza, and I got this picture. It's so cute. The 2-year-old, he eats the pizza from the back. He starts on the crust. It was awesome in his high chair. And, I said, are you guys ready to move? No,
Yeah,
guys,
it's hard to get kids to uproot like that again.
Real people. Mm-hmm. Real people. Jesse, this isn't like, oh, well, I'm a buyer and I'm going to negotiate the deal. And if the seller doesn't cooperate, he's a jerk. And the sellers love to think the buyers are jerks.
Oh, yeah. We're the same exact people, just on opposite sides, right?
Correct.
You want to find out how greedy you are? Go through a buyer transaction or a seller transaction. It'll come out immediately.
Instantly. You'll find out, I've got some work to do.
Yeah. Or maybe you won't. Maybe you like being like that, but you'll find out your true colors when you're in the emotional state of that.
Yeah. Guys, again, you just picked up the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. Jesse, Paul, Jeremy, Larkin here, the Larkin Group, KW Realty. By the way, this week I had such a fun thing. Had this guy walk in the door. So cool. I don't know what I was doing down here. Probably pretending that I was working something. And a guy named John walks in. Older guy, he's probably 65. Hey, I said, hey, how can I help you? I listened to your show. So John, I hope you're listening. I listened to your show and I heard about your, I just wanted to come see your space and meet you. So we spent 20 minutes and toured him through the building and looked at the artwork on the walls. And, and so I was touched. He said, oh, it made my day that you gave me a tour. Yeah. So we broadcast from Larkin Group headquarters. Jesse, tell me about some real people. Like, I want to hear a specific example of the real people who are moving, buying, selling, like a one that's really pulled at you recently.
So I've got one recently that they have to move because they need to get closer to the kids, where they can get taken care of.
Sure.
Like, they're getting older and they were just too far away.
Yeah.
So and they've already moved, so now we're selling their house, and we're just seeing more and more of that.
Give us more though. That's I need more. I want to hear more. Well, what's actually going on? So where are the kids? What's going on?
They went with Missouri. Yeah. So they went back to Missouri. And what happened is, I think that as we start getting older, we realize how important it is to be around kids. And when people move to St. George, they hope that the kids will come see them. But they're at the age where they have really busy lives, right? They don't have, they've got kids, they got jobs, so they're not coming.
This story is so important. They hope their kids will come see them. I've had 3 clients, no joke, in 12 months tell me, well, we always thought our kids would come see us more, but at this point they have their own kids, and some of them have their own grandkids. They're never going to come see us.
Yeah, they just
so these
if you
folks,
don't make time, you don't have time.
These folks, what's their name? First names?
So Jim and Carol.
Yeah, so Jim and Carol are cruising along. They come to you. How'd they even find you?
They found us actually on Google.
Oh, okay. So the Larkin Group. Hey, you can Google the Larkin Group. That was kind of a fun segue. They come in, and what was the initial conversation?
Just the initial conversation was they were already down the road, right? They'd already purchased the house. They were getting ready to close on it, and we just needed to figure out what needs to happen to get this one sold. And can we get enough money in the current market to justify it?
Yeah.
Right. In their heart, right? Not that they needed that much, but at some point for a seller, if you can't get a certain amount, it doesn't make sense to sell.
Yeah. Yeah. And so moving to grandkids, it's actually kind of funny you tell me that. So I'm working with some folks. We're selling their place in Vista Ridge. And these folks in their 80s, and their kids and grands and great grands are all in northern Utah. Mm-hmm. And when I met with them originally, they just said, look, we are missing out on these kids' lives.
Yeah.
And here's what happens in a real estate transaction when we represent a seller. So these are downsizing clients. We're cruising along. They take just, again, like heroic kind of obedience to the instruction I gave them. They prep the home. We get on the market. And this whole the entire conversation is around being near their babies, the grandbabies. And we get on the market and we get an offer. And originally they said, we don't know if we want this offer. And what happened is they drove to Provo that weekend to take a load. They were taking loads of stuff to, in their 80s. They've been married 60 years.
Wow.
Or something like that. 50. I don't remember what the time was. And they found the rental they needed to move into. And they found this young couple with a 2-bedroom home in Springville who said, it was crazy, great rent, great home, view of the mountains. And suddenly, that offer that didn't look that great suddenly looked very, very good, right? And actually, it was a good offer. In this market, it was a great offer.
It's really hard to, I've noticed, to get out of our own way.
Yeah.
And the key to what you just said is they didn't really have a place to go, right? So as soon as they figured out, oh, wow, I have a place to go, it changes perspective.
100%, right? The motivation skyrockets. So we go to contract and they're really satisfied. But one of the challenges of being a seller is you're in a buyer-friendly state. The Utah purchase contract is buyer-friendly.
Extremely.
Right. And so they waited, they sent the disclosures to the buyer. The buyer signs off. And then they waited and we negotiated pretty tight timelines, but it's about 2 weeks to get a home inspector in. And then the home inspector walks through. And what is the home inspector going to find? Now understand this. In your 80s, things are different in your 80s. Guys, these aren't upwardly mobile people.
Right.
You're winding down.
Right.
This isn't like, hey, gather the kids. We're moving back to Idaho. It's like everything's hard.
Yeah.
Health issues. So we wait on the inspection. And then and then the whole time they're talking to the landlord who's saying, we need you to sign the lease. And they're saying, we don't want to lose the lease, but we don't know if we dare sign the lease because at 80 plus years old, we actually don't have a lot of flexible income. So then we got through that. And then they waited on the financing. And then there was a delay. And then we extended the financing deadline a week because it didn't make sense to start over, go back to market.
Right.
Then we waited on the appraisal 2 nights ago at 9:30 p.m. I text my client. I said, Daryl, great news. I know it's late, but I don't want you to lay your head on the pillow without knowing. And he gave me a thumbs up, right? So it appraised. Well, the appraiser said you need an extra strap on the water heater for FHA code.
Yep.
And now, drum roll please, they'll wait on pins and needles for the next 8 days to verify that it closes. And I want to say something.
It's a lot.
The amount of trust I have a real estate training page that's only for realtors. It's called @Complete Realtor. If you're a realtor and you're listening, @Complete Realtor. We have 5,000 people on there now. Had a guy approach me, by the way, at Dixie High School graduation, lives in Bend, Oregon, and he says, I'm one of your followers. I love every piece of video you put out. I'm like, what? He said, yeah, I'm a real estate agent. Your training's killer. And we took a selfie. What are the odds?
It is.
He's here for his niece. Okay. So anyway, I put a video out yesterday saying, Realtors, do you understand the level of trust?
I do.
Jesse, have you been in a few people's closets?
Yep.
Have you been in a few hundred people's bathrooms?
Yep.
Jesse, does your accountant go in your closet?
No, my accountant's never used in my house.
Does your accountant go in your bathroom?
No.
Does your accountant see the toothpaste splattered on your mirror?
No.
Does your accountant see the mess that your wife has tried to get you to clean up for 11 years?
Nope. Oh, you've been in my so you've been in my house.
Well, I know you. Guys, I know
in
me.
our office.
The level of trust that is employed with a real estate agent is wild. It is intimate. It is like, oh my gosh. You see this?
Very intimate. Yeah, I do.
I want you to be thinking of one more. I'm going to tell one more story because I'm in the middle of it. Yesterday, I have a home in Sand Hollow area, and my client's called me. She's dealing with cancer, second round of breast cancer.
Dang.
And they said, we live in Utah County. We have a lot of people from Utah County that bought nightly rentals, short-term rentals, that got hurt. The market was crazy in 2021. It looked like you couldn't go wrong. They bought, and then they didn't ever get the rents that they thought they would. Mm-hmm. Well, when you're in your second round of cancer and you live in Utah County and you also have 4 babies, ironically, you start saying it doesn't make sense to lose money every single month.
Mm-hmm.
And so they reached out and said, we tried to sell this home for a year. And maybe we just needed more of the truth about what it's going to take in this market. And we see that the market got away from us in the last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I went in and said, okay, guys, we can do this, but it's going to hurt. Because we looked at the data and I said, where do you, now that you've seen the real data, see the house? And they said, here, $795.
Yeah.
I said, they said it. I said, you nailed it, right? I said, we need to completely paint the interior core of this house. Mm-hmm. They built these homes in Sand Hollow with a pool in the middle of them, like a pool in the courtyard. So if you envision a pool is in the center of a home, all of the walls, the interior walls around that pool need to be painted because it was this weird blue theme. Mm-hmm. I said, that's been killing you and it doesn't look right. And then the master bedroom and bathroom was so dark. It was the darkest bathroom I've been in probably. 3 tiny little windows and no other light coming in. I said, we're going to need a Solitube. We did a Solitube. And by the way, a Solitube will change your whole house.
And they're not that expensive.
Yeah, I think we were about $900 for the Solitube, and then it was a couple $100 to Sheldon Stout with Stout Roofing. He had to put flashing around it.
For the difference that they make, they're not expensive.
Oh, guys, it was like night and day.
Night and day, yeah.
I want you to think about the pressure. You have small children. You're carting them around another state or county. You're dealing with cancer. You have businesses, 2 businesses, and you're losing money every month. And your realtor's like, we need you to do all this stuff. Interestingly, I actually partnered with them in a really unique way on the cost of some of those things.
Yeah.
But we went to market on Monday, and Tuesday we had a full price offer. And
you are one of the best people I know at pricing.
Thank you.
So good.
But here's the cool part. Maybe so, but imagine the trust and the courage they had to have, right?
Yeah.
And these guys.
Yeah, because you're talking probably a couple, $3,000-$4,000, right?
Yeah, correct.
They trusted.
Yeah, 100%. That's almost exactly. And the funny part, Jesse, is they said, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy that we have the offer. But there's a high amount of trust.
Yeah.
And so, first of all, we thank all of our clients. We've helped 2,000 families buy or sell over the last 20 years. And the stories, guys, I could literally sit here for 10 hours straight. And these will be the ones I remember.
Yeah.
I remember in 20 years, I've forgotten a few stories.
I think the most touching one I've had recently
let's wrap up with this.
Was Megan. She was living here in southern Utah, literally deteriorating because of some toxic stuff that was going on in her life. And one of her children uprooted her and just literally came and got her, because she was dying on the vine, and took her to a different state, and she went into a senior facility, and within a week came back to life. Like they thought they were bringing her there to pass away, and she came back to life
because of the amount of stress that was shed from her.
Yes, the stress, the seclusion, the
isolation, just so much isolation when you're old, right? So to speak.
So they called us. They called us, right, from another state, daughter-in-law, who's taken charge, and we helped them through getting the house cleaned up. Deciding, okay, is there any money to fix it up, or do we just try to sell it as is? What's the best for us? And within 45 days, had that all taken care of.
Yeah.
Full price offer. It was
I had a
unbelievably not only healthy but happy.
I had some folks sit in that room 2 days ago that said, we're moving to a senior living facility, not the assisted side, the independent side.
Yeah.
While we have the choice, not when we're in crisis.
Yeah.
It's interesting. By the way, I'll put this on camera. We are the only Shih Tzu live in the studio podcast currently in Washington County. So this is is that good? Oh, she always smells so good. This is Missy. This is Jesse's dog, Missy.
I think Leia gives her a bath more than
she's pretty sweet.
Any other dog in the world.
Guys, I have two guides. I want to offer you something today, and it's going to cost you all of nothing. We have a beautiful downsizing guide if you're an empty nester or a downsizer. Whether that's downsizing from a large home to a small home or downsizing from small home to a senior living.
Yep.
It's called the Legacy Living Blueprint. Extrapolated this from the best experiences that we've had in kind of specializing and working with empty nesters and downsizers. If you want a copy, you can comment. If you see this on Facebook Live, or you can comment on YouTube. If you see it later on YouTube, just go ahead and comment Legacy. Okay, Legacy. And I will make sure you get a copy. The second thing, I wrote two at a time, two at once, is what I call the Ultimate Home Selling Guide. And it's funny, I've mentioned this to the team, but this was not ChatGPT. ChatGPT is awesome. I haven't used chat since last night. By the way, a realtor I met in Northern Utah, she calls it Chat Daddy.
That's funny.
She's like, oh, shoot, I hit the microphone. I was working with Chat Daddy.
That's
right?
funny.
The second was the Ultimate Home Selling Guide. Guys, it is every single lesson I have learned in 20 years. Guys, I tell like 8 stories, actual stories in the guide of real people, including, by the way, myself being one of the sellers.
Yeah. It's actually a case study guide.
Yeah, Ultimate Home Selling Guide. So if you comment on Facebook or you've seen us on YouTube, just go ahead and comment guide. So comment Legacy for the downsizing empty nester guide. Comment guide for the Ultimate Home Selling Guide. And if there's confusion, we'll just send you both. It's not going to cost you anything. We're not going to ask you to register and give us your date of birth and your dress size. But there's some value in these. Jesse, how do people reach us?
You can go right to Google and just put in the Larkin
just like
group.
your folks did.
Yep.
Yeah. Google.
That's the easiest way.
Yeah. 15 years ago when I started in the radio, 13 years ago, we gave people this really specific phone number. It's too hard.
Yeah.
Google the Larkin Group or visit us at gostgeorge.com, GOSTGeorge.com, or walk in. Walk in like John did this week.
Yeah,
John lives in Entrada. He's an Entrada resident, moved from Chicago. No, moved from Albuquerque.
Nice.
Walk in the front door, Larkin Group headquarters downtown. Over and out.
Thanks, guys.